Thanks very much. My name's Nick Armstrong. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Identitii. I think we picked a good name today. I'd like to start by introducing a new term to the industry. Know your transaction. We believe that know your customer is no longer good enough. We think you need rich information about every single transaction. We do this by creating a unique identifier called the identity token to each transaction. Our token technology enables banks to exchange rich information about payments over legacy networks like SWIFT, ACH, or RTGS. To deep dive, I've got slightly different numbers to my last speaker. Approximately $1.6 trillion was laundered last year. Less than 1% of that's being detected by banks. $12 billion is the amount that banks spent in 2016 on their AML and sanctions compliance programs. And 20%, the decrease in correspondent banking relationships between 2011 and 2016, while payment volumes increased over the same period. The problem is that most of the information that banks need to process payments from a financial crime perspective is missing from the payment. This is caused by aging legacy systems or limitations in the payment network. There's just not enough space in some messages to fit in all the required information. What this means is that there's hugely manual processes occurring at each and every step in the chain. This is emails, phone calls, and payments are getting held up, which is delivering a really poor customer experience. So Identitii's solution is to create this little unique identifier that enables documents and attributes to be attached to a payment. The token flows over any existing payment network or even internally within bank legacy systems. And we use a private distributed ledger to create a single source of truth for that information. So you take the token, look up the distributed ledger, and if you permission, you can retrieve that information. I'm pleased to say that in 2016, we won a competition run by enrich. As a result of winning that competition, it was called the Industry Challenge on Compliance. We started a pilot with 7 global banks. That went for 6 months, and I'm pleased to say that we found some pretty massive savings. 30% of reduction in time to do level 1 and level 2 sanctions and AML investigations, a 20% reduction in false positives, and a 20% reduction in requests for information going back to customers, and a significant improvement in customer experience. These are some of the comments from the banks that participated in that, and I'm pleased to say that 2 of the banks that participated in that pilot, we now have production deploys in. One exciting thing was that in November last year, we launched a global partnership with Microsoft, running our application on the Azure platform, and so we're using that to now scale out globally. You can see a detailed demo of the application that's running on Azure if you go to our website at www.identitii.com. So our goal is 3 things: increase transparency to reduce money laundering, help to stop de-risking by reducing transaction risk and reduce compliance costs, and improve the customer experience. The best part of all this is that our application is easy and fast to integrate. We have 3 integration options, including a no-touch deployment for banks. Thanks very much. My name's Nick Armstrong. We are Identitii, and we want you to know your transaction.
Well done, Nick. That's a good job. Any questions from the judges before we break? Any questions? No? No questions?
Easy.
Megan. No way, Nick. Bad luck.
Sorry, I was just asking. What is your business model? How do you make money?
It's traditionally licensed revenue with a transaction component. With the banks that we're working with now, it's an on-premise deployment. That's just a traditional license model, and then per token fee on top of that. As the network expands, we expect that to start to get a network effect out. Ultimately, we'd like to get multiple banks on the network, but what we're finding now is that we're just dealing in bilateral corridors, because that seems to be often where the biggest pain point is around this document exchange and information exchange between banks. So the network will hopefully grow over time, but we're taking a slightly different approach to building that out than some of the other blockchain consortiums.